Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I am Napoleon Hill, and today I want to speak directly to the center of your mind, to the part of you that has been scattered, distracted, pulled away from your purpose by the noise of the world and by the weight of comparison. There comes a moment in every life when you must confront a powerful truth. You cannot rise while your attention is scattered. You cannot grow while your eyes are on others. You cannot build your future while living in someone else's shadow. Your energy is your life, and wherever your attention flows, your life follows. So hear me, not casually, not lightly, but with full awareness. Your life will change the moment you decide to focus entirely on yourself, not selfishly, not arrogantly, but intentionally, deliberately, powerfully. Because focusing on yourself is not about ignoring people. It's about not abandoning yourself to please the world. It is about reclaiming the energy you have wasted measuring your progress against others. It is about pulling back the attention you have poured into judging, comparing, watching, worrying. It is about bringing your mind home, back to your goals, back to your growth, back to your path, back to your own becoming. Teach Faras Ta. You have been distracted from yourself. Somewhere along the way, you started using your life to observe others. You looked at what they were doing. You looked at what they achieved. You looked at where they were going. And slowly, without noticing, you drifted away from your own direction. But hear this truth deeply: comparison is the thief of focus. Comparison is the killer of clarity. Comparison is the enemy of self-growth. You were not created to chase the path of another person. You were not created to measure your worth by someone else's progress. Your journey is your own. Your timing is your own. Your purpose is your own. You cannot discover your potential while staring at someone else's story. Your future requires your full attention, not the leftovers of your attention. Today we reclaim your focus. You cannot rise while your mind lives outside yourself. Every time you compare yourself, you weaken your inner strength. Every time you obsess over others, you disconnect from your own voice. Every time you measure your value through the achievements of others, you lose the clarity of your own identity. The world will always be loud. People will always have more, do more, show more, achieve more. But focusing on others does not bring you closer to your goals. It only pulls you further away from the work you must do. Growth does not happen in comparison. Growth happens in concentration. Focus on yourself, not others. Your path is unfolding at the speed meant for you. Your job is not to chase the world. Your job is to build your world. THELONNG. You become powerful when you protect your energy. Every thought you spend on others is a thought stolen from your future. Every moment you waste comparing is a moment taken away from improving yourself. People lose years, watching others live instead of building their own lives. But today you reclaim your time. You reclaim your attention. You reclaim your power. Because focusing on yourself is not selfishness. It is self-respect. Self-respect means you value your energy enough to invest it in your improvement. Self-respect means you value your growth enough to give it your time. Self-respect means you care enough about your future to stop draining yourself with distractions that lead nowhere. Your life expands when your focus strengthens. You grow when you face yourself, not others. This next truth is not easy, but it is necessary. Sometimes you look at others because it is easier than looking at yourself. It is easier to criticize others than to improve your own habits. It is easier to watch others rise than to face the work of rising yourself. It is easier to distract yourself than to confront your weaknesses. But growth does not come from looking outward. Growth comes from looking inward. Your progress begins the moment you turn your attention from the world back to yourself. From their path back to your path. From their achievements back to your effort. From their life back to your purpose. Focus on yourself, because the only person standing between you and your potential is the person you avoid becoming. THEFTHENG. Your power lies in controlling what you can control. You cannot control how fast others succeed. You cannot control opportunities others receive. You cannot control the path others walk. but you can control. Fly your effort, your mindset, your habits, your discipline, your direction, your growth, your character. When you focus on others, you abandon your power. When you focus on yourself, you activate your power. Your energy becomes sharper. Your decisions become clearer. Your progress becomes faster. Your future becomes brighter. Life begins to shift the moment you stop watching others and start investing in yourself. Th60 AAG self. Focus builds self-identity. When your attention is scattered, your identity becomes weak. But when your attention is directed inward, your inner strength awakens. You begin to know who you are. You begin to understand what you want. You begin to build who you can become. This is where self-mastery starts, in the quiet discipline of bringing your attention back to yourself again and again and again. This is how confidence grows. This is how clarity forms. This is how identity strengthens. You grow fastest when you stop trying to outrun others and begin rising from within. The Final PSO of Part 1. You have now awakened to the truth behind your distractions, your comparisons, your scattered focus. In Part 2, you will step deeper. The how to rebuild your identity through inner discipline. The how to stop comparing in silence. How to create momentum from focus. How to build habits that turn attention and tension into transformation. The how to strengthen your mind so you no longer bend to noise. How to protect your peace and energy. How to build a future rooted in self-mastery. If Part 1 shook you awake, or Part 2 will bring you clarity. You have awakened to a truth most people never see, that your energy has been leaking outward. Your focus has been divided. Your attention has been borrowed by people and places that do nothing to build your future. But now, in Part 2, you reclaim everything you once gave away, because focusing on yourself is not a one-time decision. It is a daily discipline, a mental practice, an emotional choice, a spiritual commitment. And when you finally learn how to hold your attention within your own life, you become unstoppable. Let us go deeper. First FT. Kalfan THENNR Vice TFLUA Noa Fafam URCLF. Every person carries a voice inside them. A quiet whisper that compares worries, judges, doubts, questions. This voice does not mean you are weak. It means you are human. But if you want to focus on yourself, you must understand that this voice is not your identity. It is your old conditioning. It says, look at what they're doing. Look at how far they are. Look at what they have that you don't. And this voice steals your progress one thought at a time. So your first task is to recognize this voice not as truth, but as distraction. Your mind becomes powerful the moment you stop treating every thought as a command and start treating it as a choice. You choose which thoughts to feed. You choose which thoughts to release. You choose the direction your attention flows. Your mind becomes your ally when you decide that your inner voice must serve your growth, not sabotage it. Tichi Siko and CFT2 or and comparison indo curiosity non compatible comparison shrinks you. Curiosity expands you. The moment you see someone doing well, you have two choices. You can shrink and think, they're ahead of me. Or you can breathe and ask, what can I learn from this? Comparison makes you feel behind. Curiosity makes you grow forward. Comparison drains your confidence. Curiosity builds your direction. Comparison is competition. Curiosity is education. Focusing on yourself does not mean ignoring others. It means changing how you see others. Instead of measuring yourself against them, you observe with wisdom, you learn, you grow, you adapt, you improve, you stay on your path while learning from theirs. That is how mature minds rise. CFT The truth is simple. Your environment controls more of your attention than your intentions do. If you live surrounded by noise, your mind becomes noisy. If you surround yourself with negativity, your focus becomes weak. If you spend time around people who gossip, compare, and complain, you unconsciously begin doing the same. If you constantly consume other people's lives through screens, your own life begins to fade. So focusing on yourself requires an environmental upgrade, a decision to create a space that feeds your clarity, your peace, your self-respect. Clean your room. Organize your workspace. Remove distractions from your phone. Limit time around draining people. Your environment is a mirror reflecting your future. Build an environment that reflects who you are becoming, not who you used to be. The for you Nothing strengthens your focus like routine. Not rigid routines that suffocate you, but intentional routines that support you. Routines anchor your mind. They keep you centered when the world tries to pull you away. A morning routine centers your energy. A learning routine sharpens your skill. A daily plan gives your mind direction. A nighttime routine resets your clarity. When your routines are strong, your focus becomes automatic. You wake with purpose. You move with intention. You improve with consistency. This is how self-focus becomes strength. This is how attention becomes mastery. This is how your identity evolves. THEFTHCFT You cannot focus on yourself if your mind is crowded. So you must protect it intentionally. Protect your mind from information that drains it. Protect your mind from opinions that confuse it. Protect your mind from comparisons that weaken it. Protect your mind from voices that do not understand your path. You do not need to shut the world out. You simply need to choose what you let in. Every piece of information is a seed. Some seeds grow into strength. Others grow into insecurity. Be selective. Be protective. Your focus is a treasure. Not everyone deserves access to it. TSTHCFTUNDR stand TOSOSCL When you focus on yourself, you are not being selfish. You are being responsible. Focusing on yourself is the deepest form of leadership because you are leading the only life you are truly responsible for your own. You cannot control others. You cannot save everyone. You cannot fix everything outside you, but you can strengthen yourself, discipline yourself, educate yourself, respect yourself, guide yourself. Self-focus is self-leadership. It is choosing to take ownership of your growth instead of waiting for someone else to shape it. It is the act of rising from the inside out. THCVNHCFT. The greatest distraction is the need to be seen, the need to be noticed, the need to be praised, the need to be approved. Validation is addictive, and it weakens your power. Because when your confidence depends on others, your focus follows them too. But when you build confidence from your own effort, your own growth, your own improvement, you stop chasing validation and start chasing vision. You stop trying to prove yourself and start trying to build yourself. Your identity becomes internal. Your strength becomes personal. Your progress becomes private. You no longer need people to see your journey, to believe in your journey. This is where focus becomes freedom. THEHTHCFT. And real growth is quiet. Real improvement is silent. Real mastery happens in private. While the world watches, compares, and distracts, you work, you grow, you develop, you build. This silent work is where your future forms. Because when you focus on yourself, you don't need to announce every step. You simply take it. You don't need to tell the world your plans. You simply act on them. You don't need to seek attention. Your results will speak. The quieter your focus, the louder your progress. THENTHEFT. Siata self SPHROGSTN. So why your confidence is not built by what you tell yourself. It is built by what you repeatedly do. Consistency is self-respect. Consistency is identity. Consistency is proof that you value your future more than your excuses. Every time you show up for yourself, you strengthen your self-belief. Every time you remain disciplined, you reinforce your identity. Every time you choose your growth over distraction, you build trust in yourself, and self-trust is the foundation of focus. THE phenol res OF2. You have now stepped into the deeper layers of mental focus, emotional clarity, self-leadership, and identity building. But there is still more, much more, to unlock. In Part 3 you will learn the how to transform focus into action, how to stay centered when others judge you, by how to protect your inner peace, by how to hold your path steady even when you feel behind, how to build identity, level discipline, how to rise without noise, ego or comparisons, how to become someone the world cannot distract. If Part 2 sharpened your mind, Part 3 will strengthen your soul. You've stepped into awareness. You've confronted the distractions inside you. You've learned the difference between comparison and focus, between noise and clarity. But now, in this chapter, the work deepens. Because focusing on yourself isn't just about removing distractions from your mind. It's about rebuilding the entire foundation of who you are. It's about creating a life that protects your peace, honors your purpose, and strengthens your identity. It's about becoming the kind of person whose attention is centered, grounded, deliberate, powerful. Most people never reach this level. They stay on the surface. They dabble in focus. They try for a day or two and then fall back into old habits. They want growth, but they don't want the silence growth requires. They want success, but they don't want to walk the lonely road that success demands. But you, if you're listening right now, you are not most people. Because focusing on yourself is not a technique. It is a transformation, a reordering of your inner world, a shift in your identity, a commitment to becoming someone the world cannot distract. And that transformation begins with this truth. You must become the kind of person who protects their energy like it is their future. Because it is. The moment you begin focusing on yourself, life will test you. The world will not suddenly become quiet. People will not suddenly stop talking. Temptations will not suddenly disappear. Your mind will not suddenly become still. No, everything outside you may remain the same, but everything inside you must change. When someone criticizes you, your old self wants to defend. But your focused self learns to stay calm. When someone tries to drag you into their drama, your old self wants to get involved. But your focused self simply walks away. When someone achieves something impressive, your old self wants to compare. But your focused self studies, learns, and keeps building. This is the power of a centered mind. It is the power of someone who lives inwardly driven, not outwardly controlled. If you want to focus on yourself, you must understand this. You do not need to respond to everything that invites your attention. Not every argument deserves your energy. Not every conversation deserves your participation. Not every opinion deserves space in your mind. Not every moment requires your reaction. When your attention becomes selective, your life becomes powerful. You rise when you learn to say no. No to noise. No to gossip. No to comparison. No to distractions that taste sweet but poison your progress. No to habits that steal your clarity. No to people who love drama more than development. You rise when you tell yourself yes. Yes to discipline. Yes to improvement. Yes to peace. Yes to purpose. Yes to becoming someone your future will thank you for. Because focusing on yourself is not about isolating your life. It is about elevating your life. It is about giving your growth the respect it deserves. It is about choosing your path even when others don't understand it. It is about waking up with intention instead of wandering through your days. But focus alone is not enough. You must turn focus into movement, quiet, consistent movement. While others are busy watching each other, you are busy working on yourself. While others waste time competing, you are building skill. While others brag, you improve. While others pretend, you practice. While others chase validation, you chase progress. While others keep score, you keep going. This is how people rise without noise. This is how you build a life that grows even when nobody is watching. This is how you become someone whose results speak louder than their words. But to reach this level, something deeper must happen inside you. You must break the habit of feeling behind. You must stop measuring your pace against someone else's timeline. You must stop thinking you are late simply because someone else arrived sooner. You are not behind. You are on time for your life. You are exactly where your story needs you to be. The only thing missing is your full attention, your full effort, your full presence. Your journey cannot begin while your eyes are on someone else's success. Your growth cannot accelerate while your mind is distracted by someone else's progress. Your future cannot open while your focus is scattered across the world. Bring your attention home, back to your habits, back to your discipline, back to your goals, back to your potential, back to the person you want to become. And as you focus on yourself, you must learn the art of emotional steadiness, because nothing derails focus faster than emotional reactions. You must learn to breathe when others panic, remain calm when others provoke, stay centered when others drift, respond with intention rather than react out of impulse. Emotional steadiness is not the absence of emotion. It is the mastery of emotion. It is what allows you to stay on your path even when the world becomes loud. It is what keeps you grounded when life becomes unpredictable. It is the quiet power that makes your focus unshakable. Your mind becomes a fortress when your emotions are not easily moved. And there is one more truth you must face. You cannot focus on yourself if you are carrying the weight of trying to impress others. The moment you stop performing for the world, the moment you stop trying to be seen, the moment you stop trying to please everyone, the moment you stop shaping your life around other people's opinions, that is the moment you can finally hear your own voice. That is the moment your clarity returns. That is the moment your purpose becomes visible again. Your focus is strongest when it is not borrowed from the expectations of others. And when you focus on yourself long enough, consistently enough, quietly enough, something powerful begins to happen. You begin to grow without trying to look like you're growing. You begin to change without announcing your transformation. You begin to rise without asking for permission. You begin to feel stronger without needing anyone to validate it. You begin to walk with a confidence that comes not from comparison, but from alignment. This is the moment when you stop being influenced by the world and start influencing your world. This is the moment when peace replaces pressure. This is the moment when clarity replaces confusion. This is the moment when purpose replaces noise. This is the moment when focusing on yourself becomes your identity, not your strategy. And as we end part 3, you stand on the edge of the final transformation, because there is one more stage left, the highest stage. Take a breath. Because everything you've learned, everything you've shifted, everything you've awakened, has been leading you to this moment. The moment where focus becomes more than a practice, more than a habit, more than a technique. It becomes the way you live. This is the point where you stop returning to your old patterns. This is the point where you stop losing yourself to noise. This is the point where you stop drifting into distraction. This is the point where your mind, your attention, your energy finally belong to you. And when your mind belongs to you, your life finally becomes yours to shape. Because focusing on yourself isn't something you do once. It's something you do every day, in every moment, especially when the world tries to pull you away from your purpose. There will always be noise. There will always be opinions. There will always be people who talk loudly but live quietly. There will always be distractions disguised as urgency. There will always be people who want your time but don't value your growth. There will always be voices that tempt you to compare, to doubt, to drift. But when you truly learn to focus on yourself, you rise above all of it, not because you think you're better, but because you finally understand that your energy is sacred, your vision is sacred, your future is sacred, your life is sacred, and sacred things are protected, not wasted. There is a powerful shift that happens when you begin living from your own center. You stop caring about the pace of others because you recognize that growth is not a race. You stop chasing validation because you realize it weakens your focus. You stop performing for approval because you understand your worth does not depend on being seen. You stop comparing because you finally see that comparison destroys clarity. Your clarity comes when your attention stands with you, not against you. And when you live like this, truly focused, deeply aligned, unmoved by the noise of the world, your life begins to shift in ways you couldn't imagine. You start to feel lighter, not because life becomes easy, but because you stop carrying what was never yours. You start to feel stronger, not because challenges disappear, but because your mind becomes anchored. You start to feel clearer, not because everything makes sense, but because you no longer cloud your vision with the progress of others. Your focus becomes your freedom. And with freedom comes discipline. Not forced discipline, but chosen discipline. The kind of discipline that grows from respect for your own future. The kind of discipline that feels like a gift, not a burden. The kind of discipline that helps you show up consistently even when nobody is watching, even when results take time, even when the path feels slow. Because the truth is simple, real focus is not loud, real growth is not dramatic, real transformation is not always visible. Sometimes the most powerful changes are the ones happening quietly inside you. You start choosing what builds you. You start letting go of what drains you. You start saying yes only when you mean it, and no when you need to protect your energy. You stop responding to everything that tries to pull you into chaos. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand your path. You stop chasing after things that were never aligned with you. Your focus becomes a filter. And when you filter your life through clarity, your direction becomes unmistakable. Something else changes too. The way you view time. When you're focused on yourself, you stop rushing. You stop comparing your chapter to someone else's chapter 10. You stop thinking you're late. You stop feeling behind. You stop believing success belongs to others and not to you. You begin to trust your timing. You begin to honor your pace. You begin to understand that growth is not linear. Some days you bloom. Some days you build. Some days you rest. Some days you learn. All of it is progress. Focusing on yourself creates patience. Not passive patience, but purposeful patience. A calm knowing that what you're building inside will eventually show outside. A quiet confidence that your time will come because you're preparing yourself for that time. And something beautiful happens when you stay on your own path long enough. You no longer need to see the finish line to trust the journey. Your trust shifts from outcome to identity. You no longer say, I hope it works. You say, I'm becoming the kind of person for whom it will work. And as your identity strengthens, so does your focus. Because focus is not just attention, it is identity. A person who sees themselves clearly lives their life clearly. A person who respects themselves deeply protects their energy naturally. A person who knows who they are does not lose themselves in the crowd. Imagine living with that kind of inner certainty. Imagine waking up and feeling aligned with your own path. Imagine knowing that distractions may surround you, but they no longer control you. Imagine building your life without the weight of comparison or the pressure of proving yourself. This is what focusing on yourself creates. Not arrogance, not isolation, not selfishness, but inner freedom, inner stability, inner power, inner direction, the kind of strength the world cannot shake, the kind of clarity that guides you through every season, the kind of grounded identity that rises even in difficulty. The kind of purpose that grows quietly, day after day, until your life becomes a reflection of the person you decided to become. And now, as this final part reaches its height, there is one truth left, the truth that ties everything together. Your future depends on what you give your focus to. If you give your focus to noise, your life becomes noisy. If you give your focus to comparison, your confidence weakens. If you give your focus to others, your path becomes lost. But if you give your focus to yourself, your growth, your discipline, your habits, your character, your dreams, your life transforms. Your focus is your power. Your power is your responsibility. And your responsibility begins now. So rise. Rise into the person who owns their mind. Rise into the person who protects their peace. Rise into the person who chooses their future over their distractions. Rise into the person who knows they are worth the effort. Rise into the person who builds quietly, confidently, steadily, deeply. Rise into the person who focuses on themselves, not because they reject the world, but because they finally understand that their greatest transformation begins within.